Hey guys, and welcome back to another Conan Exiles video. Today, instead of a build guide, I decided to put together some tips to help improve your Conan Exiles buildings. You guys seemed to enjoy my decoration guide I posted a little while ago, so hopefully you'll find this video just as helpful. In this video, I'm going to be covering 5 topics that I think can help improve your builds. These tips are made under the assumption that you already have some basic knowledge of how to build structures in Conan Exiles, so if you're brand new to the game and you're watching this video to try and learn the building system itself, take a while to first play around in the game and make sure you know the basics. I have enough tips for about 3 of these videos, however I want to keep this one fairly concise, so if you want another building tips video in the future, just let me know in the comments below. So without further ado, let's get started. The first tip we'll be going over is building with the environment. It's very easy to just find a flat area and build a house, but being able to build with a not so forgiving environment around you is an important skill to have, both in survival and in roleplay settings. The example I'm going to be using is building a small home here, just in front of this rock, with the aim to have a small balcony area atop the rock itself to look over the desert area beyond. By building our house underneath the rock and then building a circular platform at the back right of the structure, we can create a nice tower that allows stair access up to the balcony on the rock, allowing for a nice multi-level build. This is of course a very basic example. You can do plenty more with different environments, including building multiple different interconnected huts, multi-level housing, different levels for workshops and more. The next tip is a much simpler one, floor orientation. This tip is for all the perfectionists out there that like their builds to look as clean as possible. Floor orientation is important for ensuring the build looks nice and clean, but it only applies to certain pieces, basically anything with a grain or pattern like wood. As you can see, this demo house looks pretty messy without proper floor orientation, but we can fix that now. I am using the less building placement restrictions mod, so I have the arrow on the foundations to show orientation, but you can still check orientation without any mods by keeping an eye on the grain or pattern of the foundations and turning them accordingly to make sure they fit the others. Do bear in mind that without the mod, Yamatai in specific is very hard to build with, as you can't see the grain properly, but that's more a fault of the DLC pieces themselves. As you can see, with proper floor orientation, this small hut now looks much cleaner. Next, let's talk corridors and leading. This is a concept based heavily on the idea of flow, the concept that I mentioned in my decoration guide, and it can transform a build entirely. Let's look at this house without any proper leading that we've just built. Boring? Yeah, it is. There is no clear structure, just rooms and a corridor. Now, if we rebuild the house with proper corridors to lead to stairs at the back of the build, it looks much better. Corridors help to guide you to different places in the build, which is far more effective than just throwing rooms in a build and hope it works. This can also work for a variety of different ways. For example, if you want to lead, say, customers to the front desk of a store, or you want to lead people straight to a certain room in whichever house you're building. It can also work inversely, keeping people away from, say, important rooms. It's all down to personal preference and how you implement it. Next, we're going to be thinking outside the box. This is something I'm very much guilty of, building box houses. In fact, most of the time I really have to force myself not to do it. It's a really bad habit, as most of the time square or rectangle shape houses are nothing but boring, at least 99% of the time. Sometimes they can work, but it's, not often. Now, if we start to work in some more amorphous shapes into the base plate of a structure, we can make a very interesting build shape. This does require a little more knowledge of shape structures in Conan Exiles, and how to work them into other structures without any weird clipping issues, but it produces much more interesting results than building a plain old box type building. Whilst these shapes do make building rooftops very difficult, the results are far much better than the alternative. I know a lot of people are probably stuck in the same rut I am with just building the same shapes over and over again, but if you kind of just let go of the idea of boxes and rectangles and build whatever you want and adapt from there, it's much easier to build something more visually interesting than just a box. A good way to break this habit, something that I've found quite helpful, is to look at historical buildings that you're trying to base your building style off of. There aren't that many buildings in real life that just have a box. There are often various different shapes worked into the structure, especially if you're looking far back at, say, Scandinavian architecture. So if you're struggling for inspiration of what to build that isn't a box or a rectangle, take a look at some older pictures of some different structures from different periods of time. I know it's helped me and it can probably really help you if you're struggling. Finally, we'll go over how to build overhanging roofs. This is something I've struggled with for a little while, especially on my Turanian mansion build a small while ago. However, they are actually fairly easy to build, although they only really suit larger builds such as the mansion, or in this case the house we built earlier to show the corridors and leading. Do bear in mind, this works best with a standard peaked apex roof. So firstly, to construct an overhanging roof, we have to first place ceilings at the top of every roof piece on the edge of the roof, which then allows us to place roofs overhanging the walls clipping onto the ceiling pieces. We then also place roof pieces on the side of the builds, which clip onto the already placed roofs. We then place ceilings all the way under the overhanging roofs on the sides, and next we use sloped and inverted slope sides to cover the gaps between the roofs and the ceilings, placing ramps underneath to sit flush against the inverted slope sides, finishing off the roof. And there we have it, 5 building tips in Conan Exiles. Thanks for watching, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have, leave a like below, and if you'd like another one of these tips videos in the future, or if you have any suggestions for future builds, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to join the fun on our Discord through the link in the description, and if you'd like to support the future of this channel, the link to my Patreon is also in the description below, with various tiers and rewards including your name at the end of videos, sneak peeks at new videos, special Discord roles and more. If you're new to the channel, feel free to check out the rest of the content here. There are plenty more Conan Exiles videos coming every Wednesday and Sunday, so if you like what you see, subscribe and hit the notification bell to be the first to see the next video and join us on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.